It feels sad to have the cameras off, but I will do it. But if it works, we can come back and have have the videos on again.
Yeah, yeah, we can see. I know it feels a bit sad, but so do you want to start sharing your screen, Ruganzu, or?
I think you have you have my presentation.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I can share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Mhm.
You can see my screen now, right? Or soon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Okay.
can see.
Yeah. Then just let me know when I should change the slide.
Yeah, well, to begin with, I'm really honored and excited to be joining to share about my work and experience, and also to learn from you as we learn from each other, because that's what the maker movement is about. Knowledge is equally shared and transferred to those that most need it. Today's presentation, I had prepared the pedagogy of the maker movement for specifically Planet One, which is the project that is a collaborative between Full State and Greenpeace. And these are all amazing organizations. And if we could go to the next page, then I'll tell you more about who I am as an artist based in Kampala, Uganda. So my name is Bruno Ruganzu. I'm an artist, also a teacher of art at the School of Art and Industrial Design, Chambogo University. I also am an activist with different organizations that promote environmental awareness. And I build things out of waste. I began building sculptures from waste materials. Basically, as a student at a university who was doing sculpture and who was working in an area where materials were expensive, and I could easily pick these bottles and plastics from the environment and use them to build. Initially, it was not a big concern for what was happening within the city. It was about the limited resources that I was able to be having, but also because I had transitioned from living in a village in southwestern Uganda and having to move to a city, Kampala, to study. And then there was too much plastic everywhere, and I could see it as a material to use. Later, these sculptures gave me a platform to go into public spaces and showcase the products that we were making, the sculptures. And it was from this background of showing at street art festivals in Kampala, like this is Uganda Festival, like La Art Festival, that I got inspired to go beyond just making sculptures, but also to make them more functional, because there were very few places, and there still are very few play spaces for children in most cities, and especially the city I live in. So I started to build recycled playgrounds. And I had this idea that given the fact that I was conversant with the material and reusing and recycling plastic, I could start building these play spaces with children. So this allowed me to, get some visibility and earn myself a spot on TED. And then I was invited to present my idea of building playgrounds in Doha, Qatar. It's quite a very long story because, it was my first time to leave the country. I was nervous, I was going through a lot as a young person who was trying to make an influence within the community. And when I got to Doha, I couldn't believe the world that was before me. And there was so much that was interfering or making me having culture shocks to up to the time of realizing that I had, sense of value as a young person. And I got to know that, of course, there was a reason why I had been invited to showcase my work. So after the TEDx presentation, I won the TED Prize for CITA 2.0. Allowed me to build playgrounds. Of course, it had a grant of $10,000 that I used to build a playground in Kampala at a place that is adjacent, even where I am now, opposite our university, called Chireka. And the idea was simple, that the children who are living in this community of over 300,000 people, they had no single space to play. So we just had to organize ourselves as a community and meet from the LC chairperson to the church leaders, understanding that the community was way beyond just you coming with an idea to do, but also understanding the dynamics of who to see, who to talk to when you want an idea to be coming up from the grassroots. So in the next 3 months, we were collecting plastic, tires, wood, metal, scrap, and arranging them at this public space where we built the first playground that I did. So when things started, getting news and attention, then there were more places that I got affiliated or invited to go and showcase my work. That's all in 2014. So I will just maybe in interest of time, I know we have time, but mostly to what we can take away from this conversation, that's the reason why I took up one case study of a project that I recently did that involved makerspaces. And I felt that since this is what you're building or already or about to begin with, it could be an interesting project to share with you. So I'll ask Julie to go to the next slide. So in 2020, before the pandemic, I was selected as one of the artists from the African continent to go to France in a project called Season Africa. It was meant to highlight or show what different creatives and artists on the continent were doing from an African perspective. Because mostly when they see our art, it is always seen from another point of view. But for the first time, the French president, when he visited Ghana, he came up with a resolution that he was going to invite artists to go all over France for a whole year in a project called Season Africa. So you can find more information about it online. But because of the pandemic, we were struggling with space and time. It kept being pushed forward. It kept being postponed because of the pandemic downs until last year in May, when we were able to go to France and participate in this project. So on the next slide, you'll see that they are saying the purpose was to what can we learn from African artists in the field of collaborative work on issues such as upcycling materials in connection with the maker movement. So with that, we were offered different maker spaces. Of course, for developing worlds, we don't have that culture of fab labs or maker spaces, but we have also a making movement that has been there from back in time. And normally these are happening in places where you go, like every downtown in any city has got people recycling, upcycling, building up things in different communities around the continent. And of course, keeping in mind that Africa had, 54 countries, there were many artists who were being selected, and it was two of us who went to Toulouse in southern France. And on the next slide, it shows the different, the project I had. For instance, if you are building a makerspace, it's very important that there is a vision, which I know project one already has. And in my presentation, I'm looking at it the way we worked on the tribute to Luzira Head installation. So basically, this was the idea that I go to France, and then I pick one work which is in a British museum. Of course, I could not access it. I only used the picture from the internet. This work is a sculpture that is more than 1,000 years old, that was picked from Uganda in a place called Ruzira, where they built a prison. It was during the colonial time. So then it was shipped and taken to the British Museum, which it stays up to date. And as an artist, I wanted to query the presence of such a work, which has a lot of meaning and culture and purpose of why it was created, while it is in a foreign space where possibly the reasons behind its making are not being made. So it was a form of activism that I was trying to create a stage for, and use this installation to begin a conversation, which possibly as an artist I cannot conclude because it requires policymakers, but then we can begin conversations from here. So when I got to this project, there was many different fab labs that were invited to participate in this project that were in France. And it was my first time to actually work with different maker spaces that have all the tools that any artist could dream of. So I could find whatever material I wanted and it will be there. The tools that you want, they are there. But then what's missing is the idea and the people to implement. So in the next slide, we can see the network that was created by Kedesava, which was my host. You can see it in the center. It was the main residency. And then the different fab labs, like Rose Lab is where I went to develop the project. Then Rio Loco Festival is where it was supposed to end. In the end, Tales, Airbus, Humanity Lab, all those I was meant to be working with them during the time of creating the project. Fabricate, Saint Jean, these were all spaces where tools are there. They are just like what Project One is about. The tools are in place, and these tools allow visitors to come in and spark their creativity and imagination to create products that are handmade. And that was something that blew my mind because in Kampala, where I live, we do not have a place like that. We have places that are similar, which are differently organized. They could be there while they are making their own products for sale. If you have your idea, you go there and you create from hiring the people who are there. They are not like you go there and you take over the machines and tools. It's not that easy to trust you with all this equipment. So you always find people who are working in the space and you hire them to make work for you. And I think it's similar to most places around the world that I have been. So partners and creating a network is very important in any space that you intend to start with. You cannot be an island in a space. There will always be supportive institutions that are doing similar work, that are related work. The work doesn't have to be having the same product in the end, but the point of co-creation and coexistence is very important to note in terms of such a space is being built when you're looking for a network within the space that you're already in, knowing that which other partners can you have on board that already have things that you might even want to get, and you might not even find a reason why to bring in a heavy, expensive machine if you could collaborate with another organization and maybe you start from scratch. That's how valuable I was finding this information as we move forward. So then we go to the next slide. Yeah, so in the next slide, thank you, Julie, for following up. It actually shows if you are to do a collaborative artwork or create an idea in the space, what would it require? Because in essence, every space that you are creating, we are expecting young people to come there and get freedom to select materials and build up something if they want to build, come up with a simple design and they're able to create it. But maybe they also need some sort of pedagogical knowledge that ideas have to be generated. Idea generation And the idea is what will connect everyone. The idea connects everyone into the project and makes people feel well received, well connected, or being part of something bigger than themselves. I feel that if I was to work at any project one space and I found that there's some idea or theme that they are working with, it gives a sort of direction to allow me see what skills I'm bringing on board. So in this place, we had this idea of building the Ruzira head, which was going to be shown at Rioloko, but originally the size was 18 centimeters of the actual sculpture. And I wanted us to make it 17 meters high. Imagine you're going to have people coming to your space and they are dreamers, just like me. They want to make work that is way beyond even the space that you're thinking about. I'm moved in Toulouse. I'm just within all this network of Fab Labs, and I felt like instead of making a 17 centimeter piece of work, which is maybe the size of my hand, I wanted to go 17 meters. That's really like got to do it is to know that we were all makers. Everyone was a maker. And the idea was not going to be mine at all. It was now getting to the community to be sharing this idea. A community in this space could be the people that are coming to the space and see how they own or contribute to the projects that are already in space. If we go to the next slide, you'll see that other people were invited to see the resources that we had and to see what materials were available, what materials are easily outsourced within the community, and how can they come up to create what you want to create. So we were visiting different sites like recycling places. We were visiting dumping sites. We were visiting studios to see leftover material that people have left or they are willing to give away, so that we are not incurring in more costs. So the idea is that in collaborative work in Fab Labs, it allows people to go over out of the box in terms of what they can use, what is available in the environment. And this is also a joint effort that people take to know what qualities of skills that people have. You have carpenters, a shopkeeper in their free time, they can, they can sew something, they can put up some, structure together, so the architectural knowledge, or some sort of engineering, anything that is tinkering with the mind is welcome in this collaboration. And it's that your community is able to offer you. Then on the next slide, here we have different photographs of engaging the audience into a participatory project. Participatory project means that anyone can come with their ideas and add on what is already existing, as long as they get context. So when people visit this a studio or this space, the maker space that you are about to make, they are able to find some projects that can activate them to think towards the objectives of project one. And this allows their ideas to be felt, that I'm not only here to consume ideas, but I can contribute. And people work, either they are assembling things, and you'll be so surprised by the potential of people anywhere. I have worked with children, I've worked in camps, in school settings. Anywhere you'll find that there's always all this great energy until a project is proposed and opened up. Then you start realizing like, oh, this is a possibility. So with this project, we did collaborative work in different fabrics. So the other partners you had found in the first place could decide to offer something that they are so good at, because they want to relate. They want to also give meaning to what you already have. It can be in terms of the physics or material or support. We take for granted, because at the end of the day, we are all fighting for Mother Earth, and it gives us in plenty, and thus shall we offer it in plenty. And in the next slide, you'll find that the participants who have been coming to these workshops, they are able to invite their friends, they are able to invite their families, because now the project is no longer yours, it's also part of them. So people were offering their free time. So we chose some days in the weekend where everyone could easily come to build. And that allowed different people to always come in different times. And because it was still when the pandemic was high, we were still, following the SOPs, but still you could tell that people were, interested in building together. So we set up dates which would allow a community to know they can meet. And it could be something close to the weekend, or an activity that allows in the evening, whether it is tea testing, coffee testing, something that becomes a catchy appeal to the space that allows in people to come and build. And notice that all the people that we are showing in the images, none of them was having an artist background. Everybody wanted to make and build something. And sometimes that's all that is missing with people. They are always lost in the other world of making money and work, but then they leave everything, like from plumbing to the ceiling to different people to do the work. But the moment they have free time, you find that it's easy to actually work. So on all the visuals that you see, none of the people that I work with have a background in art or are artists. It's just the audience that is coming in to build. But what is aiding us is mainly the availability of space and materials. And these materials are not limited to the tools. So the tools make it a bit more motivating. That in this Fab Lab, there was a tool like a CNC, which was cutting the wood. So all we could do was join, we would drill or assemble, which activities that allowing people to engage and talk and having breaks and come back to their presentation or the project that they are working on. And it becomes also personal, because with time, if you come 2-3 times, the next time you feel like it's an obligation that I want to go and see how it's finished. So Julie, I will ask you to go to the next slide. All right, so here we brought this installation that we built from different scrap metals, computer spare parts, and all this junk, electronic junk that was collected from people's homes and recycling places and studios. And we brought it to the festival. And then for 4 days, we allowed people to interact and build to complete because it wasn't finished. And the next slide, we'll have the final installation when it is built and installed at Rio Loco Festival. Here, it's a proud moment, and it's not just for me, it's for all the people that participate and build together. And at the beginning of the festival, before it's open to the public, we do a private show. We invite them, the people that have participated, with their families. We have some bites, some coffee, some tea, some drinks, just to appreciate all these energies that have been built together to put up the artwork. And then the rest of the people will be seeing it for the rest of the festival. And that's one of the ideas I thought to share with you within this workshop. And the next slide has got feedback, whereby there may be different activities that should be important to have at Makerspace, which are to hold workshops and also master classes. For workshops, they can be open to maybe allowing in people to come and build from there, or you have a general idea of a campaign that is ongoing, and be invited to work from there. Or you can also have a master class and invite somebody from the community, somebody that people love and respect, that is doing something amazing for them to present and inspire. So that's what I had in prepared. And for the next, I would say it's about feedback. Feedback from the partners. The feedbacks are really, really important of this community, and it can be from the partners, the people that are giving in their time, who are involved in the projects that you have. And also I was expecting to have feedback from myself, but now I can get it from you. Thank you, and I will. I think we can take it from there, Julie.
Yes, thank you so much. I'll stop sharing. Maybe now we can try to turn on our videos if you want to. It's a bit nicer to have a conversation then, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. It was really cool. Do we have any questions or anything? Any first reactions or yeah? Yeah, August?
Yeah, my first reaction is wow, wow, wow.
Thank you.
I agree.
That is so inspiring. Like I had goosebumps seeing that work that has been done there and how it was done,
Yeah.
and the innovation of how things were built. Because usually we think that to build something, you have to go and buy new materials to have things done. But the approach here is quite unique. Yeah. So I think for me, the question I have, especially in the maker space, is perhaps in your experience, what are in terms of the key elements that you feel are fundamental to have in the maker space? Like what would you say this is a must to have in a maker space? Yeah, I think for me that's one of the questions. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, August. I'm delighted and honored that you find the work and the pedagogy behind it interesting. And mainly for me, it's about sharing simple ways of, taking ourselves back to how things were in the start, before everything became commercialized and made for the market. For me, the idea or my experience with what a makerspace should have in terms of the key elements, I would say it's a space that should inspire any child. The child in you, if you are even older, that you enter from how artistically it's open. Of course, it's physical, there's a space, but there's need for a studio space. And then in studio, most people think like it has to always be open to everyone. But sometimes there are artists or creators or activists who prefer some privacy when they're working. Like if you have like a shipping container placed somewhere and it's separated to make like studio space. Any creative person will tell you a lot goes around their mind before anything is created, and almost that is caught in silence and in nature. When you can just bring nature to it, like plants, I would see plants and nature as number one in a space, because that's where inspiration comes from for anyone. That you see plants, you see nature, then you even care. You want to care either for them or for yourself. And in that, then you start looking around. So when I go from the space where you have placed or located, like in Johannesburg, I've not been, but I've passed through going to Brazil. But I feel that you have different settings that could be also inspiring to a person because of traffic. If so many people are passing, cars are driving by, like the sound, all that affects creativity. It either pushes it way up or lowers it. And a lot of it requires some sort of peace and harmony and calm. So in terms of materials, I would say mostly about tools, because people will have some things at their place, like hammers, saws, which when they come to your space, they want to elevate. They're looking for something more, because why space is important is we are trying to run from the small spaces where we are working, and then you want to go and really find where you can build something. And you are running away sometimes from your daily troubles and people calling you. I have 2 kids at home, so if I'm going to build, I have to always say, hey, wait, I'm working here. Like every space is important, but if I come to a maker space, I feel like, oh, I've turned myself into a mind or a creative space where now I can be able to work. But what tools are there that can enable me come back, or can enable a young person, 17-year-old, who is not owning their own drill, electric drill, maybe that has battery that is going to save whether the power is there or not. There are some things people, take lightly, and these are hand tools. This really takes us back, because you are not going to rely on electricity all the time. But when you have the hand tools, if the jigsaw is not working, you get the hand saw. So tools really inspire anyone to build or create or make things. The sections, if they are separated and labeled, it's also great for you to follow up. Like the studios I've been at, I've been in Sweden, I've been in Denmark, I've been in Korea, I've been in US. But every time you enter like a maker space that you are going to, I am like, my head is running, because I feel like I can do anything now. Now that all these equipment are there, I can build. And I'm unlimited with what I can do. So importantly, I think they have to invest in tools in a space, and tools that don't rely only on electricity. Because there are also some really interesting tools that I used to have one piece actually from a Swedish designer. I remember Eric, I think it's from Gothenburg. He's a scientist, artist of sort, who builds only tools that you can use with no electricity. And they can cut, they can carve, they can make get plastic and make shades with no minute, just printing out. So I find that those are really cool things to have in a space. Most people are going so far away and investing in high-end technology, like 3D printers, and then all these also require too much material. And then after the machine is there, you have used the first materials that it came with, and then we're going into budgets to look for more material to feed it. Then it becomes a liability to the space. Whereas if somebody had really tools that are adding value from what materials are around, then it will be a great thing to have. And then when I leave tools, I definitely talked to Julie before about it, but internet access for everyone in a space, like internet is power. You have seen what it has done around the world, and in many countries, like even in my country now, Facebook is not yet open. It means the people in power know how important such tools are in having internet. We've seen cases of, in Sudan, cases in Egypt, and all these revolutions that have gone through by young people mainly because they could access the tools. So some tools are tangible, others are not. And I think that will allow you to have some sort of members who can become a consortium at the space. That's what I'm thinking about at the moment in terms of what to find. And accessibility to the space, how many hours are you working, when is it open, when do people access resources. Of course, we've had cases where you go to a studio and maybe there are no technicians or people who are custodians of some tools, and you struggle to make work or build anything just because the one responsible went with a key, you know. So those are things that I would, keep sharing more about. But I hope I answer your question, August.
Yeah, great. Yeah, Daniel?
So my question would be, I think maybe we'll provoke similar answers, then you can just go wherever your mind takes you. But so my question would be, like, before designing a makerspace, what kind of mistakes we could or should avoid? So let's imagine that advice that you would have found like super useful before opening a makerspace. What comes to your mind? What mistakes that we might take if we just follow our logic, but then we would, yeah, that's.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. Before designing a makerspace, I think the biggest mistake most people, even myself, I found is to underestimate the users of the space. There are many times where the end user of the space is not part of the conversation. It's always that, oh, this is what they want. For instance, I work sometime on art projects in refugee camps, and everybody thinks they need shelter. You know, now they need where to sleep. But then you don't know what they need, what they actually need. So I think to avoid designing something that is not very well utilized is to see the community of the people that you're designing it for, because we have different needs in different countries and different directions of thought. That if you invite young people, trust me, I work some projects on kids, they blow your mind with the ideas of what they want to make. And they can think about things that probably, because you own like your dog, you might take it for granted, like somebody wants to come with their pet at work. And then they are coming 2 times and they don't find where there's a safe space for their pet. They are not coming back because they were not part of the design process. So I feel like to answer it is to engage upfront. You can do one, 2, 3 workshops before, and they can be not only like visual, they can be through performance, through dance. Some people are bad communicators of what they are thinking. Some don't draw what they want to say, but they can bring it up in a song. They can bring it up in a story. So I like the participatory design process where you engage so that people can actually have meaningful tools. It might be like what you need back home is probably not what maybe Rose needs in Kenya. And if the people at the center of Planet One just say, okay, now we send these machines everywhere, and these machines maybe come to your space, but then they are not meeting the needs of the people. So we go back to basics and see how to engage the people that are your audience, are your family, are your community. I also like when we are working with the community as a word, it's never without unity. So you must first work on it to make the community that you're building or starting up. Thank you. Mhm. Mhm.
Any other questions from anyone? Yes, Johnny?
Thank you, Ruganzu. It's so good. I'm taking notes here. I'm a real fan of participatory design, and it's so nice to see your work kind of manifested in the light. So making is new to me as well in this context, but I've been in a lot of other different contexts where participatory design has been used. One thing I'm thinking of with your work, one of the examples you brought up, I think that art could always be seen as activism, depending on how you view art, and of course the intention of the art that is done. But so in this project, what we're trying to do is to bridge activism and making, right? So we move into a space where they would meet, I would say, is where we're talking about making that has an impact on society. That would be something where they change. And I think the first art piece that you showed there was a good example of using art as a symbol for creating debate or dialogue. And I've been thinking now, and when I've seen some of the maker movements work connected to the pandemic, for example, where they come in and they work with kind of crisis response, you could say. So I don't know if you could just kind of help us to get words on and like I don't know, flesh to the idea of making as a tool for creating impact and change in society. I think that would be really helpful for us to start navigating that space, as that's where we're trying to land in some way. It's not a straight on question, but it's rather like I miss, and that's also maybe why the question is there, because I'm missing the words a little bit for it. So I'll give it to you and to do what you can with
it. Thank you. Thank you, Yannick. It's great to know that you're a great fan and you've been participating in participatory design. I've been also following up and also being in a workshop where we are, for instance, talking to museums about having art and science and making the museums open. It's because the intentions of these spaces, when they were made, they were storing work, but then the world is moving so fast that there's no reason to separate art and then science or the maker movement, and also have a lot of their work in the basement, because it's not making sense anymore. I don't know if that sort of example takes you slightly off, so that we can come back to this conversation of activists and makers. So the way I understand this space is to bring in also the value of having a sort of deliberate direction, which allows people to engage with the space. Because I look at I think that art could be a nice force to give the message even more out. For instance, if you are to design the space, how are you working with the local welders to build things instead of now I need office, we need to buy chairs, we need to buy furniture, computers, build shelves. How are you allowing local artists to come at this space to build something that is functional for the space? And I feel for me, it's not just about ownership of the idea, but also to be more inclusive and allowing people to not only participate in the space, but also know that it's their home. I feel that Planet One is going to be a home for activists, for the environment, and also makers. And people can come in to see that the resources on the table can bring back or put forward their message easily. That maybe I wanted to make posters for the school strike, like we are having in Uganda every week, but where are they making the posters from? What's the process? What is missing? If there was just a detachable equipment that is maybe on a truck that somebody just drives and places somewhere, and it will be easy to use and work. The freedom of allowing space not hold down the mantle of the idea. Yeah, so I'm looking at in cases of, let's say, crisis response, where artists or creators are intrigued to come up with something, but what happens after that is down? What happens after COVID? Like this space, how meaningful does it continue to contribute in documenting, in archiving? What spaces within that could add more value to the community that is in? I think I might also not be having a straight and direct answer to your question, but I understand what you are trying to derive, and I think it's the mix of maybe words and English that separates us to find the same ground that we are talking about, but we're on the same horizon.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's I mean, I think this is what we're trying to figure out, right? There's not so many people out there who have created maker spaces within climate and environmental direction, where it will be a home for activists as well as kind of a maker vibe to it. So I think that's where that's our playground, right? And
Yeah.
you're putting words on it, and I think every word that we find, I think there's like one word that you said now that I picked up on is like maybe at the center of the playground is meaning, right? What creates meaning? And it goes through a lot of different things, like who we invite so that the chairs feel that they are there for the right purpose and meaning, to that we have the right tools for those that are engaged with the printers, for example. I think the printer was a great idea, and something. It's always interesting to think of, okay, what community exists already that we are tapping into. For example, Fridays for Future is a community that I think exists in all these cities we operate in. Okay, what do they have in common? Yeah, well, they are printing flyers. Okay, that's one. They are making banners. That's two. Okay, what else are they doing? Like, and how can we make that feel at home for them to do those things at our place?
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. And I think that the modern approach is where we are going to differ from the other maker spaces, because you already have a direction and vision that it's more environmental, so that you avoid people just thinking, oh, it's a hangout place, I can go and just build anything, but also to have a sense of belonging. And the start is important. How you start gives people direction. The people you first have in workshops, you invite to build. I would say in every city that this is, you have amazing artists and activists that are doing work there, and that's the reason possibly that you're setting up this space. I would say it would be great to invite them for master classes or workshops, or let them.
I think we lost you now, Ruganzu.
Am I back?
You are back.
Yeah, Ugandan internet. Maybe I switch off the video for some time, then I first come back.
Okay, I thank you for this, and I give the word over to someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else have any thoughts or questions or anything that you would like to discuss or like reflect on, or anything you find would be helpful for your maker spaces? Yeah, Rose?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Bruno, I think yeah, that's a fantastic job you have done, and you know, the examples that you have shared with us are really inspiring. So my question is, I saw in your presentation, I think from the beginning, you had mapped a number of maker spaces. I don't know whether those maker spaces are in Uganda or they are out of Uganda. That's the first question. And then the second question is, now that you have gone through these trainings and mentorship and, you know, the workshops, do you then have your own maker spaces, or how do you operate? What exactly are you doing with yourself and probably the community in Uganda? Yeah, over.
Thank you, Rose, for your appreciation and amazing questions. The start of the presentation, I was showing and sharing my experience on a project that I did last year in France, in Toulouse, southern France. And just to give a direction, since we were going to talk about maker spaces, and I'm very sure there's very few or none in Kampala where I live. The ones that I mapped, the intention was to show you that as you
Hmm. Did we lose him completely now?
Seems like it.
Yeah, maybe he'll come back. Okay. Hmm. Are you still there, Ruganzu? No, he's out. Maybe he'll call back in.
Mm. Maybe we can take a 5 minute break or something.
Yeah, we can do
Or
that.
10 minute break.
Yeah, maybe 10 minutes, if that's fine for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so be back at 2 or 25 past whatever hour you're at in your place. Okay, great.
Great.
Hi, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Internet had gone off.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I understand. We
Yeah.
decided to take a 10-minute break, if that's okay with you.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, so
but-
everyone will be back at 25 past.
Okay, 25
Yeah.
past.
Yeah,
Great.
see you
Thank
then.
you.
Yeah, thank
And,
you.
mm.
Tito. Every time tunapita hapa kunakuwa kumenyesha. Just about because everything cannot be taken away. Hata nimeshiba, nimekula hiki kimaliza. Itakuwa hapa siko hoteli. Hoteli siku ilipita kwa magendo. Makina.
Hey, August. Hey, Julia. How's it going?
It's good, good, good.
Are they
Hectic,
building
but
on your house, August?
sure. I feel like flying away.
Nini?
If I had
Huwezi kosa moto but
Is Sandra back too?
Sandra is not back, but
Okay.
guess she's coming soon.
Mm.
But maybe we can start then.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And sorry we lost you for a while. Is there anything that you felt that you missed sharing, or that we missed that you were sharing?
Yeah, I was responding to Rose about the map locations, and I wanted to share with her to know that these were partners who we were working with that had different fab labs.
Wait a second. I think I'm wondering if Rose, are you there? Can you hear us?
yes, I'm here. I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it wasn't in Uganda, it was France. So what I do in Uganda is that I run an artist residence space called Eco Art Uganda, where I host artists and build things. I continue to work and build, and I think that's the best way you can do it, because in this field there's a lot of people talking and doing less work, and I think it's a work in progress.
Did you disappear again? Are you there? No, you're there.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay,
So
thank you
from
for.
the
Mhm.
from the trainings and residencies that I've been able to, participate in, I use it as backup knowledge and figure out how to pass it on. That's why every day I'm at university where I work and interact with very many young people on a daily basis, which I think for me it's a bit refreshing and keeps you engaged, because every day you find new ideas coming up, and it's great to be part of their process of growth and development, in a way paying it forward.
Okay, just as a follow-on question on the same, before I give someone else a chance, in your residency makerspace, do you charge the young people who come there for knowledge, for getting knowledge from you? Do you charge them? Is it a fee, or is it like a philanthropic kind of a thing?
Yeah, I've actually been in Kariobangi also. I was maybe 2018, and we were building a playground at a washing bay, and also put up a library made out of a bus. It's still there and working. It's some of my friends who organized. So back to my space, it's always that I receive international artists who are able to foot their bills to come, and staying at home, you can always come and share the food we eat. And the space is also coming from funds I get from things like being in this workshop, presenting at different forums. I have not acquired any grants or anything from anywhere. It's always from the sale of my work, my artwork, and I try not to put fees on knowledge, because then it blocks the idea of it being passed on. More, I wouldn't say it's like philanthropic or what they call that, because when you say philanthropy, it's always like very rich people helping poor people. But I'm more about people helping people, that we are all on the same space. You might have something to offer in return of what I have. And it's all from the spirit of Ubuntu. And I know August knows much about Ubuntu. In fact, I am a firm believer of Ubuntu. My youngest son is actually named Ubuntu. Like I am because we are. If people were not there for me, I wouldn't be where I am. That's why I'm always also finding a way to give it back and pay it forward. And that's the space at EcoArt. You can find it on Google, on Facebook, and normally people write to see if there is space. And some people prefer when I'm around, but even as I am at university, somebody might be there doing something. So it's an open space.
Cool. Thank you.
And you're welcome, Rose. Bus is only 12 hours.
I know. I am actually thinking about it.
Yeah,
I also
please
want to
do.
come.
And it's built out of bottles. It's all glass bottles. I didn't put it in the presentation, but I can share from here.
Yeah,
It's built
please do.
by me and different people who offer their knowledge, engineers, architects, giving out their time, and the materials are collected off Facebook, different festivals, when they have stuff to give away, to throw out, I'm like knocking on the door or like that.
Okay, cool. Did you want to say something, Yannick?
No, I was just giving the space to Sanda to ask a question.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Thank you so much for the discussion and your presentation and all the really cool examples. I agree with August and everybody else. It's been very inspiring. I didn't really have a question, more just some spontaneous reflections or thoughts, but I don't know if you have already touched upon them or talked about them while I was not here. I was thinking about how we can merge this whole concept of having a makerspace and supporting the environmental movement and activists. And yeah, I think that's something that we will, as a project, Planet One will reach this, knowledge more later on. Like, I think Planet One will kind of become the expert in this field, which is like the merging of the two fields. And then I have this like vision, I don't know if it would be possible, but in Stockholm, for example, in Sweden, we have a lot of schools, universities and colleges that specialize in certain types of skills. And today it's very, trendy to work in like digital creating and digital making and digital marketing and things like that. Different arts schools, and many of them are quite like high profile private schools, and the best of the best get in there because they do auditions and things like that. And I think they have a lot of potential, like the students that go there. I think they can be very talented and very knowledgeable. But then when it comes to the projects they do, because I visited some of these schools, I have some friends that study there or some acquaintances. Then I realized that the projects that they do, it's often client-based. So for example, we have one school here in the area close to Fryshuset called Hyper Island, which also works a lot in like digital, I don't know what to call it. It's not really my area at all of expertise, but they do a lot of different things. Art directing and PR and marketing and stuff like that. And then they have clients that are big fashion, for example, fashion brands or beauty brands or something like that, create a task for the students, like, oh, can you do this profile, create a digital profile for us and do the marketing for our business. So it's usually always like businesses and things like that. And then I kind of sometimes feel like all the talent that the students have is going to waste, like, why can we not use all this amazing potential for something good for Mother Earth, for example? Yeah. So if somehow in a world where Fryshuset could have even more power, Fryshuset and Greenpeace together, maybe they could be the new client, of these schools and say like, hey, this is your new assignment, like your school assignment. I think you should create something for this global strike, or you should have a workshop at our makerspace for other young people and share your skills with us. But I think if they had such an assignment for like a whole week or something, that the focus was like Planet One, that's the client, Planet One. Now build something for Planet One, like a whole marketing profile, a whole, PR, whatever is necessary to put it like high up everywhere in society, then that would create a difference for sure. That's just a thought, but I don't know where to even begin.
I am not an expert of the possibilities that maybe Greenpeace and Fruits House have, but I would just share that when I listened to what Sanda was presenting, it also pains me that I know a lot of really great artists and activists or makers who could do so much for this world, but are also lost in the capitalistic spaces, which are just client based and asking asking the clients to be the one leading the goals. So I would say that you know, to create or make things, they have to be personal to people to relate. And if project one could be the space
Oh no. We lost him again.
Yeah. Oh,
Maybe not.
are you there? Mhm.
Those are African challenges, internet connectivity.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
say it's maybe the majority of the world population has that as a challenge.
Yeah.
But you seem to be back now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. So please continue what you were saying.
Yeah, I was saying the thing about systems and how you beat systems is to penetrate the system. You need somebody from inside to work for your side, and that allows, for instance, if you have you know, a support of a project that a student might get when they are going into those digital creating spaces, then they are sort of ambassadors for project one. If you find a 17-year-old creative person and they produced a work in digital, but for Planet One, it could also show possibilities. But the main one that I'm really thinking can work is to flip the coin and create a space where it's people who have matters of the heart, matters of the earth, matters of Mother Nature, because the rest of the space is about money and running and this. And I would say these artists are also in that space, struggling because there is competition, struggling for space, they're struggling to be the best. And if you have an alternative space that is saying, come the way you are, you know, we are open hands. We're not so much on your grades and whatever you studied, but do you care about the environment? You are one of us. I think that can also give meaning to the space.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know whether someone raised their hands or not, but I was just, yeah, I just wanted to just comment on both what Sanda said and you, Ruganzu. I think that's the challenge of the world in terms of really looking beyond the capitalist thinking and profit-driven mentality. I think the question from Sanda, I think it's a very good question to explore in our different areas to see how we can penetrate that system, as you said, Ruganzu. Because I've seen this happening. If you guys can watch, I think there's a documentary or something written about how what is this brand? Dolce & Gabbana, how they turned around their business because it was almost going down. And they really, they went in more of a way of being interactive with different students from all walks of lives. And even ordinary students who do not have any university degree to say, look, this is who we are. Things are not going well. What do you want from us? What do you want to wear? If you come into Dolce & Gabbana, what do you want to wear? How do you want it to feel? And all of that. And they totally turned around the company because they brought ideas for the company, and the company really succeeded because of the creativity and like the collaboration, the space they created for the youth to be able to feed them back with valuable information. To date, they're still using the same model. So I think those are the kind of spaces that we need to think of and really try to penetrate them and find how we can collaborate with them or work with them to create something that is meaningful beyond profit, but for the sustainability of life. Yeah, over.
I have a question as well. Ruganzu, how could you tell us more about your artivism? How you work with artivism, or how you?
No, he disappeared. But it's a good question, so please remember it and ask him when he's back. Yeah.
I think that, I guess in all of you, there are small and big ideas that come out of when we are in this dialogue. It would be nice if you wrote them down and we could share our ideas afterwards.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I just thought it would be great to have like a reading list with videos, articles, all kinds of stuff on, like, for example, artivism or sustainable making, all of these kinds of things. And Sanda's, the EU volunteers that Sanda have at Momentum, I will meet with them next week to discuss kind of what research they can be doing for this work in like as a whole. So I think this is like one interesting thing that we can continue with.
Yeah.
I had 3 ideas that came to my mind. One is that it's so good that, oh, sorry, maybe not relating what you brought up, but maybe other ones. So it's so great that we are recording this because we can share with the youth teams. So it's like a entertaining that they can participate as well, I think, if you don't have any things like that, anything against it. Also, it would be so cool if you know if there is any documentary, short movie, interview on like a makerspace or making, or anything to read, because I feel like, you know, like it's such a big subject and topic that I would definitely want to, you know, like absorb it in any platforms as possible. So watching, reading, listening, going, experiencing everything. So if you or Ruganzu knows any book or documentary, that would help as well, I think.
Yeah, we can ask him. And there are some books on making in the literature list that I've done. That I've created. I can share it. Yeah. And I think you bought some for Facilitator already, or for Momentum. Yeah.
Yeah, we have some in the venue at the moment. Yeah. What you had 3? That was only 1, right? Oh no, that was 2.
3.
Oh.
Like that we can share with the youth team, and movies and documentaries.
Okay.
3 small ones.
I'm gonna see if he's listening.
I had one more idea, and it's to use the residency model. After when Sanda talked about it, it's like it could be really a good way to involve skilled students, for example, to do residencies, for example, in the holiday breaks that they have. And then, so part of the youth fund could be like, okay, you get the space, you get, I don't know, food and materials, and you have X amount of time to do a project of your choice.
Wow. Okay, that's really cool.
And it would make the administration of youth projects also a bit more tangible, maybe, because then we can go out and say, okay, in this period of time, there will be projects, and you apply with a project, and we give you what you need.
Yeah, that's a good idea. He hasn't emailed or anything, so maybe he's trying to get back.
Yeah. Any other ideas that's popped up?
I don't know, but I like the idea of like creating something like someone or some people start something, and then some other people that come there can continue working on the same thing, and then like,
Oof.
I think that would be cool. I haven't really thought of that, but that's, instead of everyone doing their own thing, then yeah, you can do something bigger maybe together, like, but not at the same time. Yeah.
That brings up an idea that I had also. It could be like, I don't know, the art project of the month, or like the whatever of the month, or in a certain period, like in that sense, it can be like a collaborative thing that is happening for a period.
Yeah. And it would be cool if we like maybe can, I don't know, if there's something that gets created that we can have it somewhere, like in a museum or in the city hall or on a square or whatever. I know that Ruganzu told me that a lot of the things that he's done, he has just contacted the municipality and asked like, do you want to use this somewhere, and then like to get exposure. I think that would be, and then maybe it would also be like a typ en liten morot att göra någonting. Like if like, oh, this like the finished product will be presented here and there or whatever.
Yeah, definitely. I think municipalities would like that. Maybe some kind of free art project for their squares.
Yeah.
But
hey, you're back.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Sanda.
Hi, Ruganzu. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we have some questions for you. So maybe Yannick, do you wanna take your questions?
Yeah, but
yeah.
maybe we finish this. So what we started now, a little conversation about in the middle was kind of ideas that has popped up in our heads. And Sanda, you were just about to say some ideas, so maybe we start there and then we go back to the question.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
When it comes to the master classes, just like Ruganzu was talking about, inviting different people who can have like specific classes in something. I think it would be cool if we could have them. I'm just thinking from a local point of view here, we could have them like on the schoolyard, like outside, if it's possible. I mean, if the weather allows it and all of that, if you have a permit to be there, and the possibility to like take out a bunch of tools and tables, and also to, make other people curious and interested what's going on, and open up the whole masterclass. That would be really cool. Because here we have like a small stage kind of on the schoolyard as well. So someone could be on the stage and like you could set it up with microphones and speakers and everything and create like a whole event around it. So it's not just inside the space, especially if it's some kind of like more introduction class, kind of like a broader class. And then the other thing I was thinking about was to have a making festival in the summer or whenever it would be possible, where each makerspace, if you can, then they would invite a lot of makers in different fields, like artists and just different creators and digital creators and programmers and whatever. And then they would have like, different stations at the festival presenting their work and what they do to inspire all the people that visit the festival, to inspire each other, maybe ask for people that visit to contribute to their work that they already started, like to create these collaborative artworks and projects. Because if you have a festival, then it could be, going on for one whole day, and then you have a lot of time to do stuff, or even several days, and then you include music and all of that. Daniel knows everything about festivals, so I think he can already imagine some things happening, maybe food trucks and whatnot. That would be cool.
Yeah, really nice. Okay, so I'll jump back to my question to you, Ruganzu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering if you could tell us more about your artivism, the principles that you like use for it, what you wish to do with your artivism. Yeah, kind of walk us through the key elements of it. I think would be really nice.
Yeah, thank you, Yannick. My artivism is based on art, using art as a form to bring in environmental awareness, and also creating functional objects that are done by not just people being the audience, but being part of the artwork. So the principles that govern it is that all the works that are created should be made with available materials. It's very important for me that we are not like buying all the stuffs. We might buy some things to help put things together, but the idea is to collect materials that are a waste and then bring them into one space to make a product. And the product should be addressing the community need. There has to be something in the community that the product will create is addressing. So I play around the fact that me being an artist and activator, I have the platform to instigate a conversation where people can realize like we need shelter for these people. Can we build something? And then when you say we're going to build, what can we use to build? What materials that are there, and how can they be used, and what resources? And another element is that it's about people power. Like the people power here, I mean that the people's potential and skills and what they're good at, they can get to exercise it in creating this goal. So in a very conclusive, simple way, you would see it that an artist goes into the community and engages the people in the community to think twice about what they have and what basic needs they need. If there is something they actually need to be made, instigates the process of making that. but not from his ideas, but the ideas of everyone in the community, because that's what has been creating ownership. Because some of these things we are building, they break down. You build something today, and after 6 months, people are using it, then it's broken. Also, how is it going to be fixed? They remove and throw away. But if people have built it together, they can fix it. So it's also one of my elements. So I look at that. If you can build it, you can fix it. And like we are using all these technologies, you know, like these Apple phones, and nobody knows what is inside. We are on the smartphone. We don't know what's working, what is making our faces shine bright, and we can see ourselves, but the knowledge is hidden. So my goal is also to unlock all these knowledges. Like at the workshop, I had people opening washing machines using washing machines all their lives. I don't have a washing machine at my home. We use hands to wash clothes, but I don't know the technology inside. So I'm curious to open it and see what is there, especially when they are already broken. So because all these things are built with the idea to hide knowledge on how they are built, then people always have to buy. Every time anything breaks, you have to go and get a new one. And I think it's a big challenge, even when I make projects in different parts of the world. Like I was in Copenhagen, maybe 2017 or 18, and I was working with some children at this summer camp, which I know you have also in Sweden, and some children who don't end up going for summer holidays. There's this spaces, community spaces to go and build, and I'm there, and all the children expect everything to be brought and arranged for them. And we are in this workshop, and I'm saying, oh, you have to go back home, look for things you don't use, and you bring them, and we see what we can do with them. And trust me, lots of children, they were running away from my workshop because I'm not giving the materials that are, you know, colors and all this that other courses are giving. And they have a choice to choose. So I have 1 to 3 days, some just never come back. And then other who are curious about building, they come. They actually come with a broken radio, or come back with something from their home. And we start to think this conversation on how can we repurpose it? How can we make something out of it, with an intention that they can take home something after the workshop. So basically, that's been around my work, especially with young people, is that even I know there are spaces where people are already upcycling or recycling or bringing things for sharing. And I would say in a workshop that I picked these shoes on some garden or park around town, and they're like, how do you feel wearing somebody's shoes? And I'm like, but we all wear people's things back home, like all the secondhand clothes that gets shipped. Nobody's asking who was wearing it before. The purpose is just, are you wearing the shirt? You know, are you able to know that you could actually make it? Could you make your own shirt? Could you make your own cape if there were material like textile on the ground? If there are some scissors, could we build? And then it excites them. And actually, in the end, you find young people wanting to build and own the things that are around them. So I would say that's also where I find myself getting more satisfied with what I do, because trust me, none of my sculptures is for sale. Like, I don't build work which I know somebody's going to come and buy. It's just awareness, and awareness sometimes is short-lived. So you build a sculpture, you have put it on the roundabout, maybe 300 people have seen it. So what happens after? You carry it home, you take it to another space. Um, you won't find somebody coming and saying, I'm interested to buy your trash, because they're seeing the things that have been used. So it's a lifetime goal and cause to be part of, and realize that you definitely have something to leave for the next generation. It just has to go beyond what you actually want as a person, and to realize, like, all these things, you've had them for free, and now you're more about the price. And that's how I'm always in this space of balance. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. I think that was really helpful too. A lot of things that we can take with us from that, I think.
Because imagine what Sanda was talking about, like making a makers festival. Woo! That's like a brilliant idea. And all makers anywhere, they are definitely undervalued, but if you find the makers, they are the people that best believe in themselves. They are the ones who love what they make. So they are always willing to come to a space. We tried with several artists in Kampala, because we don't have art in public space. A lot of the art we have is politically placed, and some has been there before we were born, but we don't dictate where to see or put work. So there's not so many spaces to see art, and we wanted to do a sculpture festival where we would come, we put in our own money and build sculptures, and let the people just be awed by all this amount of plastic and waste in the city. And the biggest challenge was the authorities, like the city council, and all these restrictions about space, and making stuff about safety, and it's just crumbled down this idea. But I believe for known and well-recognized organizations like you are, it's very possible, and you will be a voice for so many people who would want to build, but then never get a chance to build or showcase what they are built. And that cuts across to the artists, the musicians, the performers, the theaters. Everybody wants a stage, and if you create a space or a stage for them to showcase, you already have the right people that you're looking for, and over years they will keep growing and growing. And it's as well an idea that can be happening even in the places where you don't have the maker spaces. Maybe we could, you would find people like us wanting to relate to the festival. There could be some, artists from Mali, from Gabon, from Japan, applying to come and showcase at this festival, because it has their goals, their visions. And I believe already there are existing people who are working in groups where they want to share this message, but they do not have like a bigger platform like Project One. One example I would say is Project Vortex. Project Vortex is an idea from an American artist and friend of mine, Aurora Robson. Aurora Robson, she makes giant structures. She's, I think, like mind-blowing artist to see her work. And she makes everything from trash, but it never looks like trash. And there are giant installations that can blow anyone's mind. And she wanted to find artists who were working with the environmental concern around the world that could put up their work on this website and be part of this collaboration. And then if the work is sold, a percentage is given to like one cleaning site, one company that is cleaning the ocean, one person that is doing something great for the community to maybe start up a project. I know you'll find most other examples around the world that we're looking for similar spaces to grow and share. So I believe it's a way to inspire each other, especially those who are all within the green movement and alternative spaces.
Thank you.
Did you want to ask some of the questions that you had, Daniel, or?
Yeah, so the questions that I asked, if you know any good documentaries or like short movies or video interviews with makerspaces or people who run these kind of places, or I don't know if there was like a good video that you could suggest or readings for us.
Absolutely. I think some of these spaces, for example, where I first went in 2014 at the McCall Center of Art, they had an environmental artist in residency. It was just specific on artists who were dealing with the environment. And they also made sure that they did some interviews on YouTube about the process of making work. Like the artist I just shared, Aurora Robson, she has some also very interesting TED Talks about her work and practice. But also it's important to see, for example, one of her works. She goes to schools and colleges in the US. Then everyone in the school, they go to like the creek, the valleys, the river, and they pick trash from that same community where the school is, and then they take it to their studios in the same school, and they make work. And they are building sculptures, installations, small things anybody makes with no restriction that you are an artist, you are sort of a special person. And then these works are auctioned, and they have an exhibition, and they invite the whole community to come and see what their students or children made during one summer camp. And some of these works are auctioned, and the money is put to help that same community where they were cleaning. So things like blogging could be very great to look at. I think there are many blogging examples online where people go and clean up the ocean and lakes and rivers from the trash. And I'm sure there are lots of inspiring videos and interviews that I can find or material to read that I can share with you after here. I'll definitely share with Julia also. I see we are on the same email, some things I really find inspiring or interesting that could spark what you already are building.
Thanks, that sounds really good. Thank you.
Mm.
A follow up on that short one. Do you have suggestions for like Facebook groups or accounts to follow, these kinds of things? That you can also maybe send that to Julia, but if you have some already that pops up in your head, that would be good.
Yeah, I think they are very, very interesting, artists and spaces that are building. For example, in Denmark, there's an artist who makes these giant sculptures out of pallets, and they call them the Forgotten. I think they have also a documentary. But I visited his studio, and it's sort of a makerspace. It's in Copenhagen, and what happens there is that restaurants, bars, shops, banks, people that have offices, for instance, when they have to change furniture or remove things, they invite him, Thomas Dambo, his name, and Thomas Dambo goes with his volunteers, and they collect all that trash, they take it to his studios, and then people come to do workshops with the trash and the things that are there. But in the other side, he's already building with communities a lot of giant sculptures that are forgotten, and I think most people relate with this because there's like sometimes he has a map which allows people to go and find out where they are. But what I took a lot from his studio is the level of arrangement, organization, in terms of getting this warehouse and splitting it up and putting, even though everything coming there is like from wasted and thrown out, it's all arranged in color, like all bottle tops in their colors, all the pallets. They would have people go there to just work 2 days, work half an hour a day, just to volunteer to put up things. And he's traveling around the world building these giant sculptures. And all he's doing is with volunteers. People are giving their time because they want to have a giant sculpture, made. And I love his idea, and it just pops out immediately when you ask me. And I know the several groups, like if you are on Instagram and you just put like makerspace, even the ones I was in France, they were quite amazing, even though some were just into science. I didn't find one that was specific on environment. Yeah, which also is a great thing, even though in a bad way that they are not there, but because you're starting something, it would be pointless if you are doing a project that already exists. So it makes your work really relevant and important that these spaces are there. And I can't imagine why there is none yet in Uganda, but I'm happy our neighbors, Kenya, have one. And I'll make sure I can visit maybe in the coming weeks, months. Whenever I'm free, I will definitely pass by the one in Kenya. And there are many amazing spaces also, like in Kenya, that are building. There's one called Underground. After all artists like failed to organize themselves in some sort of way, there was just one space which was made called Underground, and all artists left their studios and went there. And they have been doing a lot of activism from there, engaging artists like Bank Slave who painted this mural on the Parliament of Kenya, showing like politicians were vultures, and he made like carcasses of cows, and the vultures were eating them. And of course, he had to, get trouble, but get out of trouble again. So I know there's so many underground spaces that are already moving, and I'll definitely put many of the ones that will come to mind in touch and send like a short list to Julia of things that I find interesting.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's been almost 2.5 hours, so maybe you're a bit tired talking so much. Does anyone have anything else to ask Ruganzu? Otherwise, we will keep in contact. So we can always email you, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Do you have anything else you want to finish up with, or?
Well, I'm going to say that I have enough time for this, because everybody finds a calling for what their life is about. Let anybody who wants to engage me in any way. Sometimes I'm lucky to travel. Maybe if I am there and you have something happening, I could come and build with you, and also to share as much as possible, even when we are online or offline. Yeah, that's all I was intending to say. That is amazing, the project. Even when I received the first email from Julia, I was really excited that something like this is going to happen, because it will definitely allow more creative people who care about the environment to make their voice heard, with the right space, right tools, right network, right people. And that alone will make the family of Planet One one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you. It was so nice to have you today, and so inspiring. And just as you heard, like, we already have a lot of ideas. So I think this is really nice. So thank you so much for talking to us and about your work.
Been a
And
pleasure.
it's my pleasure for us too. But I guess we'll keep in touch on email. You can, when you have time, send us some suggestions on accounts and books and documentaries and whatever you can find. It would be great.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for today.
Yeah,
That's really inspiring.
Yeah.
Thank you, Yannick, and hope to meet you guys in the future physically, and looking forward to all the great work coming to life. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.